Well, hello there. I'm Pete LaFrance, the old Growler. Welcome to Meeting Expectations. What we do here is we take a look at a can of beer, bottle of beer, sometimes a spirit will drop by, or maybe a wine. We're all friends in fermentation. And what we do is we read the label, everything on the label, check out the artwork, see what they're trying to sell us, and crack it open to see if it meets expectations. You'll notice we always use the same glassware because that way none of the beers have a leg up when it comes to clarity or aromatics. Speaking of aromatics, most people when they do their beer or wine tastings, they will sniff, sip, and then tell you what they think. Well, the wine expert here has opened my eyes to the fact that you should sip first, because sometimes the olfactory nerves can cheat on you. If you want to know all about it, click on the banner right up there and he'll explain it to you a lot better than I can. All right, what do we have today from the Transmitter Brewing Company here in Brooklyn, New York, over at the Navy Yard? It is 100% New York State Pilsner, crafted using 100% New York grown and malted Pilsner barley and New York State hops. It is, let's see here, 14 IBU'S, 5.2% alcohol by volume, 11 fluid ounce, no, 11 PLATO, 12 PLATO, which in the brewing world, that would you'd get to be about 4% to 5% alcohol.
Yep.
And it is, let's see, volume 1 pint, serving temperature 47. I forgot my thermometer, so we're just gonna have to trust that it is in the right place. Always well received. And let's see, government warning about being pregnant or operating heavy machinery. Brewed and canned by Transmitter Brewing Company, New York. Huh, I would have said Brooklyn, but what can we say? And that is about it. So it tells us the IBUs and it tells us the alcohol, and we get to guess on the fact that it is a Pilsner. So Pilsen style beer, a lager beer, light flavored. I would say that as far as the hops in the flavor, it would be not too heavy on the hops, more on to the malt. But in the aromatics, I would look forward definitely to a nice, fresh, herbal flavor in the aromatics. How about you?
Yeah, I think, when I think of Pilsner, obviously Pilsner Urquell, Czechoslovakian, beers or Staropramen. And I expect, like that herbaceousness, but also floral, and maybe even a little bit of citrusy stuff going on, maybe a little piney things going on. But yeah, I'm excited. This is my first time tasting the Transmitter, and let's see if it meets the expectations. Yeah. And going back to what you were saying about, the sipping first, I also take a look at the beer or wine or whatever, even if it's a spirit, and then I can tell by the color, what I'm trying to, what sort of flavors. And the lighter the beer here, the lighter flavors I'm looking for, more citrus, more floral, more herbaceousness. And if you go by, if the color's a little darker, you expect more maltiness. And then if it gets really dark, it's coffee and chocolate and these things. But yeah, I'm always looking at the color, and I'm gonna take that sip. And I'm gonna smell, so.
Well, this is a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, you got a little bit of haze.
Yeah, it does have a nice big head though on it. That's at least a 2-inch head, so it's holding up very well.
Yeah, and like
All
you
right.
said, there's some, I like the lacing.
Yep, right on the top.
Real pretty. It looks like, like when you drink this, I think I'm gonna be like floating on a cloud for the first few sips.
All right.
So we do it?
Swig. First swig. Cheers.
Cheers.
Every once in a while, you'll see me take 2 sips instead of 1 because I acclimate the taste buds. They're asleep. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
They are now awoke. So.
Yeah, and there's something about that too. That when you take that first sip, this sort of sip, smell, sip. When you get the first sip, like Dr. Growler here says, you get the texture of the beer. You get a lot of these pieces of information up front. And then you can sort of, synthesize it a little bit quicker. Then you take a smell, you take another sip, and that way, all the pieces are working. The aromatics, flavor profile, textures, all that stuff gets to work together. So that's sort of like what I like to do. But you know what? You do whatever you want.
Yeah,
There's no wrong way to taste anything.
beer is meant to be enjoyed. That is the truth.
But this is pretty good.
It is. How the haze? I'll take a couple points off. I'm not. The aromatics and the flavor hops, they are the same. They're the same tune.
Yeah. You
But-
think there's like sort of a muted.
Yeah, it's very muted, and it's. I hate to say it, it's kind of monochromatic.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, I understand that.
It
Well, it
didn't-
is a little maltier than
Okay.
I expected
Yeah.
from a Pilsner. I expected a little bit more of that herbaceous and floral,
Whoa.
that floral,
There's stuff in the bottom too, so that's why it's cloudy.
yeah, well, I mean,
It's can conditioned. Well, if it's not can conditioned, it's got detritus.
well, think about this though. They should probably label this as a hazy Pilsner.
Yes.
If that's the style, or unfiltered Pilsner.
Right.
So then your points go
Way up.
maybe up again because it's all about the information. And I think with the the New England style and the hazy IPAs out there, I think this is sort of that it's sort of that Brooklyn. There's just tons of hazy IPAs now. So I think that might be what they're trying to go for. It's sort of
But
like
they didn't tell us.
they didn't tell us.
So therefore, I'm afraid
It doesn't
meet expectations.
It doesn't meet expectations for me. It doesn't meet expectations for two reasons. Well, there's to me there's two reasons that this beer doesn't meet expectations. The first reason is it's a little bit more malty than I would expect from a Pilsner. It doesn't have that floral high note, that real sort of like you said,
Crisp.
that crisp note, and that little bit of haziness in there. Sort of, I don't expect that from a Pilsner. I mean, the beer's not bad. It's pretty good, but
Yep.
it doesn't meet expectations. Where with all the information on the can,
I'm surprised that they did have so much information and don't call it a hazy pilsner.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, now we just created a new category for you, and if you're out there, transmitter,
Hazy Pilsner.
Pilsner.
so does Transmitters NY6 Pilsner meet expectations? Unfortunately, it's a good beer, but it doesn't meet expectation.
Just a little bit under.
I'm Pete LaFrance, the old Growler. If you enjoyed this presentation, please click on the subscribe button and the bell. That way you won't miss any of our presentations. A thumbs up and a share would be great, but we really look forward to hearing from you in the comments. I'm the old Growler, hoping all of your beers meet expectations.